In this video today, I want to share with you guys some of the common questions you can ask your social worker when you get your first call for a placement. It's going to be a really good video for you guys today, so you want to stick around for all of that. So let's get into this video here, guys. So I did a poll on Facebook and I asked the question of just a general foster care page, hey, what questions do you ask DSS or CPS when they can call you when you're considering a new placement? So what happens at any moment of your life right now? It could happen to me right now. The Department of Social Services or Child Protection Services, they will call and they will say something like this. Hi Winter, we have a placement here for you that we'd like for you to consider. It is a 4-year-old little boy. What do you think? Do you like to take this placement? And that's pretty much all the information you give them. Sometimes they'll give you a name, but sometimes not. So this is just like a handy dandy little video for you to kind of draw back and ask some questions. So I would have these questions ready. I'd put them in notes on your phone or something like that so that you can remember them in the moment so you can ask all these questions. So this is some things that I have said in the past. I've normally asked for their name. I normally ask, how long do you think they're going to be in foster care? I normally ask any behavioral issues, things like this. And then I say something like this. I need to call my husband. I'll call you right back in 1 minute. Every time. I know that some people can say yes on the spot and that's great, but I personally cannot say yes to a placement without my husband being on board with it. No thank you, not gonna happen. Even if we talked to each other before, we before we got our children, Genesis and Gabriel, we were talking, we said that we would like to take older children around the age group that they were. And so when we got that phone call, I still sat down with Chad and said, hey, we need to talk about this. So it's very important that you're on the same page in that regards before the phone call, but even after the phone call, you need to make sure you're still on the same page because you never know what's going on in their life. You never know. You never know what's happening. So you want to make sure. So these are some things that you guys have said when you're taking placements, and I thought these were really good ideas, and I think that you guys will enjoy them. So this person said allergies or medications, and I think this is really important to know. Hey, do they have severe allergies? Can they eat food, normal food? Can they eat gluten? That's kind of a big deal. So it's a very typical allergy. Or milk, and if you feed the kid milk. We had one little girl in our care that she couldn't have chocolate, and she woke up in the middle of the night and ate Oreos, and I thought she was gonna die, but it turned out her face just swelled up a little bit. It wasn't a big deal, but still, it's good to know these things so that you can hide them and put them out of reach for little ones. So this person says, I only get called for newborns, so my list is this. Why are they being removed? Usually follow up. Are they showing signs of withdrawals? Have you identified anyone to be kinship placement, which is a good question. Is this the first baby or are there other sibling groups? So that is actually a really good question. Is there relatives of this child in foster care? And that is important because we had kids that came into foster care and they had cousins that they were very close to, and if we didn't know that right away, we would want to know that because it's a huge commitment to commit to a whole family other than just a couple of kids and their birth family or their birth parents. So if you're committing to extended family too, it's kind of a big deal. So this person talks a lot about scheduling because they both work full time. Is there a school they can go to, or is it in their district? Are they currently going to a daycare that they can continue to stay in? They sometimes ask about behavioral issues, but most of the time at the time of placement, they don't know that information. And I have found that to be true as well. Sometimes I have gotten a placement for a foster child and the only thing they gave me was their name written on a piece of paper, and I didn't get anything else. The next day I found out information, and then I went to court as well and I found out information, so I found out more about the child. So it was kind of just hard to know. So it is hard to know. And one time we did ask how long is this child going to stay with us, and they thought for an extended period of time, maybe 6 or 7 months, and then they ended up leaving in a week. So because they found a kinship placement. So another grandparent stepped up and off they went. So it's just, sometimes a social worker has no clue. So just so you know. This person's really funny. They asked, they said, "What time will you be here?" So they're really excited about taking placements. So I like that. What time will you be here? That is a good question. This person asked, "Why have they been removed? Where is the visitations? How many times a week? Do they have siblings? Have they been in care before? What size of diapers?" That's a good question. "What type of formula? How old are they? And are they enrolled in school?" Very important questions. We had a placement before, and they switched school districts, and we had not very much information about the child. We just had their name as well, and we went to put them in school, and the school was kind of weird about it. So we had to call the social worker, and it took a couple days to get them in school because they had to send their birth certificate and all their things to the school, and it was kind of wild because they were like, "Where did you get this child?" And I'm like, "Well, the Department of Social Services gave him to me, okay? I did not take this child, I promise." So yes, very important. This person has a 2-year-old and pets and says, "So we only take placements who have demonstrated that they are safe around small children and animals." So that's what they know about themselves. So if you have a child that's really scared of animals, it would not work if you have a dog, let's say a large dog, right? So this one's really cool. They have a little piece of paper that they keep by their fridge or around them, and it says stuff like that, questions to ask when called by DSS. It says name, age, sex, and race. I always feel weird about asking about race, but it kind of gives me a little bit of a mental picture about what this child will look like, what they'll look like in our home. We are a very multicultural home, so it feels insignificant to me. We are not a colorblind family. We talk about race a lot, so it is an important question. So if that's offensive to you, I'm sorry. It's an important question because you want to make sure you can help with their needs if they are a different race than you. It's important. It really is. Bio-family visitations. Are bio-families in prison? Are they around? Like, that's kind of a big deal. Respite or placement. Like, is this just a temporary placement or is this a full-time placement? Do they get along with whatever, like with other kids or with animals? Belongings, what is needed? Do they have any belongings? What do I need to go out and buy right now before you get here? Do they need doctor appointments or anything like that? Do they have medical issues? Is it school or daycare? What's the transportation needs? What is the behavioral and mental health needs? Allergies, medications, previous foster placements. So that is a very good question. Were they with a previous foster placement or previous kin placement, and why are they being removed from that placement? Religious, what is their religious background? Or by me taking them to church, is that okay? Or is it okay with the child if I take them to our church? That is a good question, because you don't want to force a child to do something they don't want to do, or the birth family doesn't want them to do. Food restrictions. We had children in our care that can't eat pork because their parents were Muslim, so that was kind of a big deal. It's a big deal. Is there a fear of pets? I'm getting with the pets thing. I think that we don't have pets, so I never think about that, but that is a really good one. Darkness or people or certain situations, there are unhealthy fears. Reasons for removal. That is a good question. You should know that. There has been several times where I have no idea why this child was removed, and it's kind of like, how do you meet the needs of this child if you don't know why they were removed? It's a good thing. Any bedtime needs, etc. Do they pee the bed? Something like that. I don't think they would know most of these things. So just keep in mind, in most of these cases, they're emergency situations, and they're not going to know the needs of these child. So this is a really good question. It says, what efforts have been made to find family placements? Again, this person has a whole list of things. What school districts are they in? In our town, it's one district, so it's pretty easy. But if you live in a big town, a big city, you might have to change schools. You don't necessarily always want to change school districts. You want things to stay as much the same as possible for that child, so they don't feel like weird, so that they have the same teacher, and everything's changing for that child's life, so you don't want to put them through more trauma if you don't have to. Is there sexual behaviors? Who's the social worker? Is there fire issues? Is there harming of animals? Able to go to the bathroom by themselves? I had one child that was a different culture than us, and he went to the bathroom on the toilet squatting, and so it took a little bit for us to get used to that, so we had to change some of those things, just teaching new things. Long-term or short-term diagnosis, so if they have ADHD or bipolar or whatever, if they what special needs does this child have, allergies, medications, when are the visits, are there any other siblings, any other behaviors, at what level are they rated? I don't know what that means. I'm not sure if I would ask that. What appointments are in place? How long have they been in care? Can they be trusted home alone? I don't think I would leave my foster child home alone for a while, though. Just saying. Good questions, though, for sure. Hey, this is a good question. What is their primary language? That is actually something you need to ask sometimes. Is there an IEP? That is good. It's a very good thing. Is reunification on the table for this child? What is their probability for reunification? Family history, protective factors, any other risk. This person says to know your deal breakers, and her deal breakers are zone schools or if transportation is provided, vaccinated, and no significant signs of physical aggression. So you got to kind of know yourself. So you want to make a difference in a child's life. You want to be able to take placements. You became a foster parent, right? So like you are making a really good impact in someone's life. But like it's okay to say no to a placement if they call. If like your life circumstance isn't in the right spot for it, that doesn't mean like the social worker won't call anymore, or you won't get a placement ever again if you don't say yes to this one. If you know that if you by saying yes to this child, it's going to add more stress to this child's life, because you're going through a huge transition, you're moving, or you're getting married, or your child's getting married, or like there's stuff that happens, or your family's just in a stressful season. Like maybe my family's the only family that's ever in a stressful season sometimes. Like you want to make sure that like everything is okay, or if you have too many kids right now in the house, like you got to know this about yourself and have boundaries and know like if I get a call today, I'm probably gonna have to say no, even if the child sounds really cute and really fun. Like you just got to know yourself for sure. And like I said, like most of the time when these workers are calling, they're gonna know nothing about this child. They're gonna have met them just that day or just that few moments before, and so there is all of that. Some other things people have said: do they take meds? Again, are they scared of? Are they scared of dogs? Do they have lice? Are they hyperactive? What are their allergies? What do you know about them? Do you know anything else about them, about the situation, or about their birth families that I should know? Is there trauma that I should be aware of? Are there siblings that are not placed with them? What allergies should I be aware of? What are the circumstances that brought them into care? And I think those are most of the questions that I would ask as well. I try to ask for their names and ages, of course, and when they're gonna get here. So I'm so excited for you guys watching this. If you're about to get your first placement, I am so happy for you. It's such an exciting time. It's also such a very sad time for the child and for the birth family. So there's all sorts of mixed emotions there. Thank you so much for taking these children into your home and caring for them while their parents get better. I think that's amazing, and it is good work, honestly. And we're always trying to get better and always trying to be the best placements possible. And by asking these questions, we can be the best placement possible, because we know for certain that we'll be able to care for this child's needs to the best of our ability. Is there going to be surprises that come up, things that the social worker isn't going to know about? Yes, of course. Children are humans, and we all sin, we all do things, like that are wrong, and we're going through stressful situations. So a child may act differently once they're in your home, but at the same time, like, you just gotta use your best judgment and use these questions to the best of your ability. So I hope you guys found that video informative. If you like these kind of videos where I find out information from other foster parents, please hit that like button or leave a comment below of some questions that you ask when DSS calls, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys!